The camera world is absolutely losing its mind right now. Something massive has just leaked out of OM system, and the internet is going completely crazy. For months, rumors about the highly anticipated OM1 Mark III have been building up to an absolute boiling point across every major photography forum and rumor site on the web. The picture these leaks are painting isn't just another boring, incremental update. This looks like one of the most exciting, game-changing flagship upgrades we have seen from the brand in years. If you shoot Micro Four Thirds, or if you just love cutting-edge camera tech, you need to stay with me because what is expected in this camera is genuinely wild. We are talking about a complete powerhouse built to shake up the entire industry and silence the critics once and for all. You already know that 2026 is shaping up to be one of the most thrilling years for the Micro Four Thirds format in a very long time. Sitting right at the dead center of all this chaos and excitement is one single camera, the OM system OM1 Mark III. But before we dive deep into the juicy leaks and the crazy expected specs, we need to look at the bigger picture. Context matters immensely here if you want to understand why this camera carries so much weight on its shoulders. The OM1 Mark II launched back in early 2024. Let's be completely honest about it, it was a good camera, but it felt like a very safe, incremental upgrade over the original OM1. It gave us slightly better autofocus algorithms, a bit more buffer memory so you didn't choke the camera during burst shooting, and slightly improved stabilization. It was a solid, highly dependable tool for working professionals, no question about it. However, the community felt it was just a small, cautious step forward instead of the giant leap we were all waiting for. Because of that exact reason, the pressure on the OM1 Mark III is absolutely massive. Photographers do not want another tiny safety step or a glorified firmware update packaged in a new body. People want OM system to go big this time, to swing for the fences and show the world what the format is truly capable of doing. Based on everything being talked about in the insider rumor mills right now, they just might do exactly that. There is something incredibly special about OM system right now that makes this specific rumor cycle so fascinating. The year 2026 marks their historic 90th anniversary. That is 90 years of rich camera heritage, stretching all the way back to the legendary original Olympus film bodies that revolutionized street and documentary photography decades ago. A massive milestone like a 90th anniversary is not something a company just lets slide by quietly in the dark. Trusted industry sources have pointed out that this anniversary is the perfect narrative hook for major product launches, and the OM1 Mark III is widely expected to be the absolute centerpiece of that grand worldwide celebration. On top of that perfect timing, Micro Four Thirds has been experiencing a genuine, undeniable renaissance lately. Look at what happened just last year. The OM3 launched in 2025 to widespread praise across the board. Suddenly, interest in the Micro Four Thirds format shot up significantly. Content creators, solo filmmakers, and travel photographers started rediscovering just how capable and lightweight this system really is when you take it out into the real world. The timing for a brand new flagship refresh could not possibly be better. The community is fully engaged, the format is gaining serious momentum, and OM system desperately needs a strong, uncompromising flagship to keep that roaring fire burning. So, let's get into what everyone actually wants to know. What exactly is the OM1 Mark III expected to bring to the table when it finally hits shelves? Let us start with the heart of the camera, which is the sensor. The current OM1 Mark II runs a 20.4 megapixel stacked BSI CMOS sensor. Honestly, it is a fantastic sensor for the Micro Four Thirds format because it provides incredible readout speeds. Now, if you are hoping for a massive jump in raw resolution, most analysts and insider sources say you should temper your expectations. Some forum discussions have thrown around big numbers like 25 or even 30 megapixels, trying to mimic what Panasonic did. However, credible sources have largely pushed back on those claims. The reason behind this is actually quite simple and strategic. OM System's competitive advantage has never been about chasing raw megapixel numbers just to look good on a retail spec sheet. Their formula for success is built on blistering speed, insane stabilization, and rugged field performance. What the community is heavily expecting instead is a significantly improved sensor readout speed and much better low-light high ISO performance. This approach would have a real, tangible impact on your daily shooting experience without needing to change the resolution number at all keeping file sizes manageable while boosting dynamic range. Now, let us talk about the processor, because this is where things get really interesting and where the real magic happens. The current Mark II camera used the exact same TruePic X processor as the original OM1, just with more RAM bolted onto the motherboard. While that extra RAM bump did make a noticeable difference to buffer performance and autofocus calculations, the community has been very vocal about what they actually want next. They want a brand new, next-generation processing engine. A genuinely new chip inside the OM1 Mark III would unlock a whole new universe of possibilities. We are talking about much faster burst handling, smoother real-time autofocus tracking, and most importantly, the massive electronic headroom required to run advanced computational AI features without any annoying system bottlenecks. This is easily the single biggest hardware question surrounding this camera right now. If OM system delivers a brand new processor here, it completely changes the entire conversation about what this system can do in the field, lifting the limitations that have held back the format for years. Moving on to the autofocus system, this is the exact spec that the wildlife photography community is watching with a hawk's eye. The Mark II did improve autofocus significantly through updated deep learning algorithms and better subject detection. But let's be real for a second. If you have ever used it to shoot erratic birds in flight against a busy background of trees, you already know that it still has some room to grow compared to some of the full-frame flagships on the market. The upcoming OM1 Mark III is highly expected to push AI subject detection to an entirely different level. Expect much better sticky tracking for incredibly fast-moving birds, along with drastically improved locking capabilities on smaller, highly distant subjects that only occupy a tiny fraction of your frame. There are also whispers of expanded subject recognition that goes way beyond the current list of birds, animals, humans, cars, planes, and trains. For the dedicated wildlife, bird, and nature photography crowd that OM system has always proudly served, a meaningful jump in autofocus performance here isn't just a luxury upgrade. It is a definitive, undeniable reason to open up their wallets and buy the camera on day one. Next up on the list is image stabilization, an area where this brand has reigned supreme for a generation. The Mark II already hits a staggering 8.5 stops of stabilization with Sync IS. That is genuinely class-leading and feels like absolute magic when you use it in the field. But the rumor community and analyst expectations suggest that OM system might push that number even higher for the Mark III, perhaps breaking past the theoretical boundaries of what sensors can do inside a camera body. This would be a massive win, particularly for handheld video creators and long telephoto wildlife shooters who don't want to carry a heavy tripod into the woods. If you have ever tried shooting a bird at 400mm completely handheld, which gives you an 800mm equivalent field of view, you already understand how critical every single extra stop of stabilization is in real-world use. Even a modest improvement in this department would be felt immediately by photographers out in the field, allowing for tack-sharp shots at ridiculously low shutter speeds. Then we have the legendary computational photography features. This is an area where OM system has traditionally led the entire camera industry, long before the big brands even thought about it. Brilliant tools like Live ND, Live Composite, Handheld High Residential Shot, and in-camera focus stacking have been massive fan favorites for landscape and macro shooters for years. The OM1 Mark III is expected to bring highly refined, much faster versions of all these beloved features. They will offer smoother execution and near-instant processing times that will likely be powered by that rumored new processor. Instead of waiting several seconds for a high-res shot to stitch together, it could happen almost instantly. On top of that, sources aligned with OM System's growing focus on macro and nature content suggest that improved, dedicated macro autofocus is also firmly on the table. This would be an incredibly welcome addition for close-up wildlife and intricate insect photographers who need absolute precision down to the millimeter. Let us switch gears and talk about video performance. The Mark II is already a solid video tool, delivering 4K at 60 frames per second with 10-bit output, HLG, and OM-log 400 support. Those are very solid specs for a camera in this specific category, but it didn't really set the world on fire for multimedia creators. The community expectation for the Mark III is not a complete, ground-up overhaul of the video specs into a cinema camera. Instead, creators are looking for highly meaningful refinements that make daily shooting a breeze. People are asking for better rolling shutter performance to eliminate the jello effect during fast panning, more reliable video autofocus tracking that doesn't hunt, and improved internal heat management for much longer recording sessions without the fear of overheating in the sun. These are not revolutionary changes, but they are practical, real-world fixes that would make the Mark III a noticeably more capable and reliable video tool than its predecessor, appealing directly to modern hybrid creators who split their time evenly between stills and video. So, when is this amazing machine actually coming out? OM System has historically timed their major, groundbreaking announcements around the famous CP Plus camera show in Japan. CP Plus 2026 ran from late February to early March, and the rumor cycle around it intensified significantly in the weeks leading up to the event. Multiple reliable sources have consistently pointed toward a spring 2026 window as the most likely launch period for the Mark III, meaning an official announcement could drop at any moment. Now, let us be completely transparent here. As of right now, what we have is a very strong, consistent pattern of community expectations, expert analyst predictions, and heavy rumor site coverage all pointing toward a major 2026 flagship refresh. Given that the Mark II launched in early 2024, a 2026 successor fits the brand's traditional 2-year update cycle absolutely perfectly, showing that the company is committed to keeping their top-tier body on the cutting edge of technology. Let us talk about who the OM1 Mark III is actually being built for, because understanding the target audience helps explain why these rumored specs are being prioritized over things like high megapixel counts. OM System's flagship has always been a camera purpose-built for rugged outdoor photographers, passionate wildlife shooters, and hardcore adventure creators who push their gear to the absolute limit. The incredibly compact body, the industry-leading weather sealing, and the deep compatibility with lightweight, high-end telephoto lenses all prove one thing. This system is designed from the ground up for people who love to be out in the wild, shooting in the most challenging and brutal weather conditions imaginable on Earth. The IP53 weather sealing on the current model means it is completely splash-proof, frost-proof, and dust-proof. You can safely expect the Mark III to match that incredible baseline at the very minimum, or quite possibly improve on it to make it virtually indestructible, allowing you to shoot in torrential downpours without a single worry. For video shooters, the OM1 Mark III is also a very serious blip on the radar. By improving rolling shutter performance and overall video autofocus reliability, OM System will directly address the two areas where the current model faced the most criticism from video creators, making it a true hybrid monster. For years, the Micro Four Thirds format has faced a lot of harsh, often unfair criticism from outsiders. Critics always talk about the smaller sensor size, the slightly less dynamic range in extreme shadows, and an allegedly shrinking market share in a full-frame dominated world. But the years 2025 and 2026 are completely shifting that tired old narrative. The launch of the OM3 in 2025 brought a massive wave of fresh excitement back to the format, and Panasonic continues to push the system forward with its own video-centric innovations. If the upcoming OM1 Mark III successfully delivers on the promises of next-level AI autofocus, massive processing power, and unmatched stabilization, it could easily reinforce Micro Four Thirds as a serious, top-tier choice for both working professionals and passionate enthusiasts alike. For wildlife, travel, and lightweight weather-sealed setups, Micro Four Thirds still makes an incredibly strong case that heavy, bulky full-frame systems simply cannot match when you are hiking miles into the wilderness. The OM1 Mark III could very well be the ultimate example of this format's true power and longevity. Right now, the hype is incredibly real, and the expectations are sky-high across the globe. We are looking at a potential masterpiece featuring improved AI autofocus, stronger class-leading stabilization, a blazing fast new processor, and a highly anticipated spring launch window. If OM System nails these rumored upgrades and prices it competitively, the OM1 Mark III will easily be the most compelling wildlife and adventure camera on the market. If you like the video, subscribe to the channel, share the video, and hit the bell icon so you never miss an upload.